How to become naturally influential and persuasive. Keep watching. This is Life Mastery Gym. I'm Damon, and I teach people just like you cutting-edge NLP processes and techniques so that you can master your life and take charge of your destiny. So if that sounds good, make sure you click the subscribe button right here down below so that you can get these videos on a regular basis. When I decided to make this video, I had to ask myself, what have I not done a video about in regard to persuasion and influence? I've done a bunch of them. There's a lot of NLP techniques and language patterns, and I've done lots of videos on these things. In fact, I'll link a few to this video so that you can watch them. I wanted to get into something deeper than just techniques and just language patterns. But before I get into this, before I get into the meat of this video, I would like to hear from you. What is it you would like to know about persuasion and influence? Put your question in the comment down below, in the comment section down below. I will respond to you, and I might even make a video based on what your question is, or rather based on what my answer is to your question. One of the most overlooked parts of persuading and influencing is really getting clear about what it is that you want. So when you think about a situation in which you want to be more persuasive and more influential, what is it that you want? Now, a lot of people just think, well, I just want to be more influential and persuasive, like in all contexts and all areas of my life. Okay, that's fine if you want that. That's not a problem. But you still need to kind of draw a line around an area of your life and say, okay, in this context, I want to be more persuasive and influential. Now, this could be at work with sales. It could be at work just working with other people. If you're in a management position, you want to be more influential and persuasive with the people you manage. It could also be in social situations. The thing to get clear about is what is it you want out of this situation? Now, you might say something very basic and simple like, well, I want to make a sale. Okay, but let's explore that even more. You want to get more and more clarity about this. And one way that you can do that is through values elicitation. And how you do that basically is you say, okay, well, I want more sales. Out of this particular appointment that I'm going to have, I want to make the sale. Okay, well, what would that sale do for you? And go really deep with this. Okay, well, it would make me more money. Great. What's important about making more money? And this is when you start to get into the intangibles, like, well, there's more security there. And then maybe there's prestige. Maybe there's recognition. There's all these things that you're going after. And you keep asking that question, what does that do for you? And what is important about that to you? And you go really deep into understanding the intangible of what's driving you. That's the value. So the value is when you go really, really deep. It's more the experience you want, the feeling you want to feel. That's what a value is. Then there's the other side of the spectrum, which we call criteria. So what is the criteria for you experiencing that value? You probably have more than one. That's the beautiful thing about values, is they're intangible, they're vague, which means you can plug them into almost anything. So if I know the value behind what it is that I want, then I would then go to the criteria and ask myself, okay, well, how do I know when I have this? How do I know when I experience a sense of financial security? How do I know when I experience prestige, if that's what I'm after? The value, like I said, is intangible. The criteria is the tangibles. It's the thing that you would see, that you would hear, that you would feel, that lets you know, oh yeah, I'm getting that thing. Now, this is very important because sometimes we experience our values and we don't even realize it. And then sometimes we have all the criteria together, which we think we want, but we're not experiencing the value. Now, this is really getting into a different video about what it is that's going to ultimately fulfill you. I've done videos about that. I'll do more videos about that. But right now, I want to really stay on track with persuasion and influence. So when I am very, very clear about what it is that I want, this is going to come out in my communication. And if I'm very clear about what I want in a particular context, when I'm in that context, it will naturally come out of my communication. People will pick up on this. Some of it will be covert and some of it will be overt, meaning some of it will be, I will be directly saying what it is that I want and directing people to to help me get what I want. And then there will be lots of subtleties and lots of things that I'll put unconsciously into my communication. Now you might be thinking, well, I have to go learn language patterns to do that. No, you don't. It is amazing how much things come out in your communication unconsciously when you are very clear about what it is that you want. So that would be the first thing that I would tell you, is get very clear about what it is that you want. Make sure you first take a context. Don't just be too general. It won't work that way. Pull out a context, elicit your values from it, and then elicit your criteria. How do I know when I have it? What are my values here? And how do I know that when I have it? And this will give you lots of flexibility around getting what you want as well. Because like I said, values are very broad and general and intangible, which means you can plug a lot into them. And the more you explore the criteria, the more you'll realize there's a lot more options and choices that you probably hadn't considered before. So when you're in a situation where you're persuading and influencing, you have this flexibility and this adaptability. And if we look at it specifically around sales, well, maybe the thing that you thought you were going to sell this person isn't what you're going to sell them, because you understand this person better and you understand that there are more options. And so you offer that person other options that fits their situation. Now, this leads me right into the other piece to this. And that is to understand the other person's values and the other person's criteria. When you do that, when you elicit that person's values, basically, what is it they want? And then what is it behind what they want? What's really driving? What's the unconscious stuff? What is the experience that they want? Most people say, well, we all want to save time and save money, or we want more money and we want more time. Okay, to do what? Just more time and more money. And if you stopped right there, well, that's not going to be enough. You want to know more behind that. So you want more money to do what? Well, you probably want more money first for security. That's an experience. You probably want more money to sort of buy the experiences that you want, which might mean like travel, or you buy a car. And again, a car, it's an object. Do we just really want a bunch of cars sitting around in our driveway? No. What we're buying is the experience of driving that car, the experience of being seen in that car. So remember, we're always looking for an experience. We're always wanting an experience. We don't want the objects. We don't want the money. We want the experience we believe that will give us. And that's what values are. The car would be an example of criteria. Well, how do I know when I have that experience of, maybe it's being adventurous, when I have that car? Now, that's going to be different for everybody, but that's an example of the criteria. So if I'm in a sales situation, I want to know what it is that person wants. And of course, it's going to differ from salesperson to salesperson, client to client, whatever it is that you're selling. So you plug in whatever it is that you're selling, and you ask a question somewhere in the area of what it is that you're selling based on what it is that they're there to meet you about. So for example, I did insurance sales. Don't do it anymore, but I did. And so I would flat out ask them, what is it they want out of their insurance? And a lot of times they would say, well, I want to know somebody is there, somebody has my back when something goes down, whenever I have a loss. Okay, great. And then I'd go from there. What is important to you about that? Now, you have to be careful about this when you're first starting. I would practice this. And a great way to practice this is to start on yourself, elicit your own values, elicit your own criteria, and then practice with friends, eliciting their values and their criteria. And at first, it's not going to be easy. At first, it's going to come out as you're giving the person the third degree. Well, what's important about that? And then how do you know when you have that? That's natural for it to come out that way. And like anything that is worth getting good at, it will take practice. But it is so, so worth it. And to me, this goes far deeper and is far better than knowing a bunch of NLP techniques. Technically, this is NLP, but what I mean is like the language patterns, or all these things that people are often selling that will win you the sale and make you more persuasive and more influential. If you take the time to practice what I'm teaching you here, you will go much, much deeper. You will take this to a level that most people aren't even aware of what it is that you're doing, because technically what you're doing is you're getting clear about what it is that you want. You're getting clear about what it is your client wants, or whoever it is you're persuading or influencing. And then you're bringing these two together. How do we create a win-win situation here where I get what I want and you get what you want? And if by getting very clear about these things, I start to understand that in this situation, it's really not going to work out. We can't both get what we want in this situation because what we want is too different. That's an amazing thing to know as well. So it lets you know right then it's not worth your time pursuing this any further. And maybe, yeah, you could throw these NLP techniques at the person and get them to buy it when it's something that they don't really want because it doesn't really match up to their values. It doesn't really match up to their criteria. Then you're going to have you're going to have buyer's remorse, and you're going to have the person not happy with the situation. So don't do that. Don't just throw NLP techniques at them. Some of them are very helpful, and some of them will speed up the process and make everything that I'm talking about here even easier. But you want to be careful with that. You want to make sure that you're really connecting with what it is that you want and what it is that the person wants who you're influencing. Now, a little more about this clarity about what it is that you want. Think about all of the great leaders who have ever lived. Why were they such good leaders? A word you will probably hear quite often when it comes to these great leaders is visionary. What does that word mean, visionary? Well, it means that they have a visual idea of what it is that they want, and that's what they're aiming for. And visions tend to be a bit vague. Visions aren't detail by detail perfect. It's a vision, so it's somewhat vague. And so what visions are is really, a vision is based on values. You take 3 to 5 values, 3 to 5 of your highest values, and you put them all together and you see it. That's a vision. And when you have that kind of clarity about what it is that you want, that is leadership right there. And we love to follow leaders, especially leaders who seem very confident about what it is that they want and very clear about what it is that they want. So this alone, just the clarity about what it is you want in a particular situation, and then you can go more broad, very clear about what you want for your life, that influences people. That kind of confidence and that clarity will get people to follow you. We're addicted to that. We love that. We want to be around that. Most people don't have enough of it in themselves. So when they meet someone with it, they go, oh yeah, I want more of this. I want to be around this person. So that's what makes clarity not only important for your life and getting what it is that you want, but in influencing others and becoming a leader and getting people to follow you in that way. Now, when you take the time to get to know what it is someone else wants, what it is that's important to someone else, and you ask those questions and you do it in an artful way, in a graceful way, that person will want to talk to you more. It'll be hard to get rid of this person because that feels good when someone takes an interest in you in a way that most people don't. So when you ask these questions that go deep, and like I said, you want to be careful, you want to be graceful about it and eloquent about it. You don't want to just like hit them with questions over and over. But when you ask these questions and you go deeper with that person, once again, your persuasion and your influence with that person is going to go way up because you're listening to them on a deeper level, a much deeper level than what most people listen to them. And so they're going to follow what you say more than likely. I mean, not just you can't tell them something really silly and expect them to do it. But once you build that kind of rapport with people are going to naturally gravitate to you. So let's recap this. Values and criteria. That's what it's called. And I've done so many videos on values. I'll link some of those here as well. So values, getting clear about what you want, getting clear about what the other person or people want. You could even do this with a group. And cultures have values, businesses have values, societies have values, countries have values. So you can do this with more than one person. So get in touch with what it is that you value. What it is that you want in a situation. Okay, so you want to persuade someone or you want to influence someone. What then? What is really driving that? What is behind it? Get very, very clear about that. And then get clear about the criteria for that. How do I know when I have it? How do I know when I'm experiencing that value? So that you can recognize it. And not only you can recognize it, but you can move toward it. And then with the people who you are persuading or influencing, same thing. You ask them what it is that they want. Hey, what are you interested in? What interests you? What do you want? And when they give you an answer, you say, well, I'm just curious, what's important about that to you? Or what would that do for you if you had that? And just go deeper and deeper with this with the person. And then once you have those juicy values, and I say juicy because these are really, really powerful, you could even package what you're saying using their values. Well, hey, if I could show you a way to get that financial security and have more joy and passion in your life, would that be something you're interested in? And they're gonna be like, yeah, if that's their values. And then you want to know, okay, well, how do you know when you're experiencing it? Like what has to be there? What parts or what is it you're seeing and hearing and that you can maybe touch that lets you know that you're experiencing this value? And go really deep with the person. And then naturally, what'll start to emerge in addition to lots of rapport is maybe you can create that vision together with that person or that group of people of how your wants and your values can merge with their wants and their values. For me, like I said, I did a lot of insurance sales. I would sell life insurance, and what I would have was my vision of being able to help protect families. If something should ever happen to this person, their family's taken care of so that we can all sleep better, knowing that this person's family is financially protected. And so my job, I felt, was to educate them about life insurance. My job was to try to protect their family as best that I could. And I wanted to sell too. I wasn't going to be shy about that either. So these were the things that I wanted. And then I would go deeper with that and, get very clear about, well, what do I get to experience when that happens? And then I talk to the client. I say, okay, well, what's important to you? Of course they want their family protected. Okay, well, when your family's protected, what does that do for you? Well, it lets them relax. Relaxation is a value. It lets them think about other things that they would rather be thinking about, like what is it they want to do that's fun and enjoyable in life instead of worrying about all the problems or the possible disasters or tragedies that could happen. So you build that vision with the client or with the group or whoever it is that you're persuading and influencing just by eliciting it, and it'll start to naturally happen. Like I said, this will take some practice. I also would not run out and do this with your clients right away. You want to practice this. Start with yourself, elicit your values and criteria, make sure you get specific about a particular context. Don't try to do it overall, like general life. It's not going to work well that way. You can do it with multiple contexts. You don't have to only do one either. But pick a context, elicit your values, elicit the criteria, and then practice with friends. And then when you feel comfortable and you feel like you can ask these questions without seeming like you're probing or that you're giving the person the third degree, that's when you start using it with either your clients or whoever it is that you want to persuade and influence. All right, now you know probably the best way to persuade and influence people, but you probably also want some language patterns, right? So that's why I created this PDF. It's a free PDF on the Milton model. It's the language patterns based on the father of modern hypnosis, Milton Erickson. And this is basically where NLP, where the developers of NLP got the reputation for being persuasive and influential, was they modeled these language patterns from Milton Erickson, and then they created a model called the Milton model. So I give you some of these language patterns in this free PDF. The way to get your hands on it is to go to the link in the description, or there's a link, I'll pin it in the comments, pin it to the top. Just click on that link, you'll get immediate access to the PDF and study those language patterns and start practicing them and using them. I wouldn't use them with your clients right away until you get really good at them, but like everything else, it just takes practice. So you want to get good at it first before you start using it with clients. If you like this video, click the like button right here and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already subscribed. And also while you're down there, make sure you get your hands on that free PDF. If you know of a friend or a family member who you think would really enjoy this video, make sure you share it with them. Take care.